Hey guys, so this is day 4 of learning Rome Render, and let me walk you through what I learned today. So first of all, I went through Stian's feedback. Thank you, Stian, again. Stian provided me the Clojure version of the JavaScript to process the query result set. So let me show you how that works. You can see the code right here on the right hand side. And so what I learned is the mistake I made was I supplied the parameters to sort by in the wrong sequence, and for some reason I couldn't work out the error. And with this, what Stian did is he recreated the same logic as in JavaScript, but using Clojure functions, and it's really worth reading through. It's very nicely written, and it was a very good learning exercise for me to process this. Also, I learned about Pretty Print, which I didn't know earlier, so you need to include a Clojure Pretty Print. And what Pretty Print does is if I run this component, I click update, then Pretty Print will print the underlying vector that I put together with the different cells onto console log in a very nicely readable format, and this is very helpful when, for example, reading or trying to debug code. Now, and overall it just prints a nicely readable format. Then what I tried to do, I wanted to add some of the common or repeatedly used functions to a common namespace. So I tried on the Rome render creating a block with common functions and putting some common functions here. Unfortunately, this did not work, so this would be nice, but this is not available at the time. I also tried using this function. So what Connor says in Rome help database that a block will load all its sibling blocks for the namespace. Well, that doesn't work reliably. So you can see here this code block is not working, but if I move this function to up here and run it again, then you can see that hello world appears. Now if I move this back down, then it will continue to work. I can add another exclamation mark here, and you can see that it continues to work. And if I change the name of the function, then I had experiences when it stopped working. Now it works, but overall my takeaway is right now loading functions from sibling blocks is just simply not reliable, or I don't know where the trick is, but for me it doesn't work reliably. Now going on, I wanted to fix this active the element ID. So you remember from the earlier video that I had a problem with that 2 days ago, that it didn't always get the right block ID. So what I'm doing right now is I'm initializing block ID to nil, and if it's nil, then I initiate a timer, and after 1 second I go and read the block ID based on my div anchor, and my div anchor is this 12 characters long, right here, this 12 characters long random string, and with that I read the div, the block ID. And so if I show you how this works, then you will see that it will come up, there's no block ID, and now I have a block ID. So this is quite handy. Now the other bit I did today was creating code that tracks the changes of child nodes. So this is what it does. If I open this, then you can see this is my query result for these child nodes. But for example, if I add a child node here, then it appears, so I can dynamically update this child node up here. The way I do this is the same logic with timers. I first create my update block ID timer, this UID timer, and when the UID timer fires, then I start a check for children update timer. First I run it immediately, but then I run it every 3000 seconds. If I navigate away from this page, meaning I cannot find the div with this element ID, then the timer stops, or this check for children update function stops to repeat, and so then I can get rid of the timer. But I also noticed one thing, and this is something I haven't yet managed to solve for myself. So I'm copying this block right here. This is the same block, and you will see that it is, because of the immutability of closure variables, this will work in tandem with the block above. And so this is a problem, because if I have a component that I want to reuse, then it will run into this problem. Now, I didn't have this problem with when I had a button to update the component, so maybe that's going to be the solution, that instead of these fancy timers, I'll just stick to a button to update my components. But anyway, I just wanted to show you how it can work, that I automatically detect the changes to my child nodes like this. And I think it's pretty cool. So thank you for now, and I'll get back to you tomorrow.